Hey there, Crystal. It's Jeff Carr here. Nice to see you in class. I'm not sure if we've had any classes before, but I always enjoy reading posts from people that I haven't spoken to before. And so it was a pleasure reading your post. I especially appreciate how you mentioned that, it kind of been drilled into you, this idea of correlation is not causality. And I think that that was something that was drilled into me. It's been a major mentality shift for me all the way back into even my undergrad, this idea that correlation is not causation. And that's a very common thing to hear, especially in an academic setting and a research setting. And so I think it's important to note that even though we in doctoral programs and us who are involved in research and in higher education understand that correlation does not equal causation. However, we see it all the time, and we see the two misinterpreted all the time. And I think when you mention, that can lead to like skewed data, and it's important to note that that's very harmful. Having skewed data is very harmful because it misinterprets the findings, which actually make your findings and the treatment and everything very invalid, which can lead to very harmful treatments. It can lead to very harmful further research studies. It can just really kind of mess with things. But we see this a lot in the media. I think they like to use the word linked a lot. That's kind of a hot button phrase that the media likes to use. Mainstream media says, well, this particular thing is linked to this. And when they say linked, it tends to make people panic. And it makes people think that that means that if I do this, it's going to cause this. Example, if I give my child vaccines, it will cause them to have some form of autism spectrum disorder or something of that nature. And they totally misinterpret the idea of something being associated or correlated, or what they like to do is say linked with causation. And what they don't take into consideration is something that you talked about a lot, which are these extraneous variables, these other uncontrollable factors that make causation a much more complex thing, especially as you mentioned, and I appreciate you mentioning, in the field of human development. With your example of a man or a person with whom I am very much going to mispronounce the name, but Lervage, perhaps, in the consideration of the behavioral, cognitive, and biological factors that play into the pathology of children, that to only utilize one of those factors to make a point and to call it causation is not looking at something from a holistic point of view, but it's also going to skew the data because there are other factors to only look at behavior as opposed to behavior and how cognition and the biological factors impact pathology of children, and how the biological factors impact behavior, how the cognitive factors impact biological factors, and just all of that as a domino effect. So I appreciated your post, and I appreciate the way that you nail down the difference between causation and correlation, not just by saying that one is linking and one is causing. I liked your examples. So it's been fun. Thanks.